Hi everyone, Paul ISL. Welcome to part 7 of the Tamiya Rc211v bike build. Before we get started, as always, click the subscribe button, click the little bell notification. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a like, and if you want, leave a comment. I reply to all comments. Got any questions, pop them down below. Everything I'm going to show you today, all the products, tools I use, are all linked in the description down below. Go down there, click on it, it takes you a big long list of them all, and you can find them there. So, part 7. Moving on, today we are going to carbon decal the rear hugger. That's the bit that goes over the rear wheel. We're going to use scale motorsport stuff for this. I'll show you the difference in that and how much easier that is to apply. We're going to put the rest of the decals on the hugger, the decals on the swing arm. We're going to paint up our front discs and rear disc. So we're going to progress, not a massive amount, but get some big steps out of the way. The discs are quite a prominent feature. They are carbon. We're trying to use the LP paint, so I'm going to try and mix some paint, which I'll show you in a minute. So yeah, we're trying to keep the theme of the LPs, trying to use them all the way through. So rather than use my normal zero paint carbon paint, we're going to mix our own colour. I've done it before, it's turned out well, so fingers crossed it will this time as well. We're just going to paint up our wheels as well. They need spraying in black. They're going to be 2K'd. And we need to get those done before we can assemble all the front and rear wheels and start assembling the bike a little bit more as well. So 2K will probably be the next video, and we're going to get through what we get through today. So let's jump straight into it and jump into more carbon decaling. Okay, so this time around we've got some of the Scale Motorsport carbon. I'm lining it up with my rear hugger to make sure we get the right size. I'm going to cut a straight edge. We get a couple of nice straight pieces to begin with, and we popped it in our decaling water. Now this is Scale Motorsport carbon fibre plain weave. It's 24 scale because I prefer the size, and it's number 1424. So after I've applied it over the actual part itself, I've sped this up. We are double speed, otherwise we'll be here for quite some time. We make sure all our corners and our edges are covered by having a look around. Just be aware that sometimes you've got an edge that folds over and you're not aware of it until it's too late. You've got to start again. You will go through quite a bit of this film. I highly doubt you'll get it correct first time round, but if you do, fair play. But for me, I certainly go for a lot of it, as you can see by all the bits over my bench. So we've hit it with some UMP normal decal solution. And I'm just getting a light brush over to make sure we're A, the right size, and all the areas going to be covered once it does conform. And B, we can start getting some of these creases out. Because of the shape of this hugger, we're going to apply 4 pieces to it in total. That'll ensure we get full coverage. It's now impossible to do in one piece. And I've tried to use the pre-cut Top Studio stuff. Studio 27, sorry, and it is a nightmare on this. So yeah, I prefer to cut my own, make it a lot easier. And as you can see, just trimming off some excess. Again, making sure we leave plenty of overhang, because there's nothing worse than getting this thing to all start to conform and set, and you realise you're a couple of mil out one side. So again, I'm still using the normal UMP decal solution. We're just lightly brushing around, slowly conforming all the edges and curves out. And like I say, this is one of the better decal films for carbon. It will take a lot of abuse. You can pull it, stretch it, the lot. Even when it's got decal setting solutions on, it will take a lot of abuse. It's fantastic stuff, and by far and away my favourite film. As you can see, tweezers on there just to drag a little piece out. And we're just going to take some excess off the very edge. So like I said, we're going to do this in 4 pieces. Big piece at the back, 1 at the top, and 2 either side on those different angles. So we're just moving any excess film that we don't need, because we will be piecing this later on. And if you piece it correctly, looking for the shapes and the pattern, it's barely noticeable that you've done it, especially if it's on a curve or a straight line. It really does fold in together very well. Once the solution starts to conform the decal, we can use our finger to fold over any edges, start to remove some of these wrinkles or excess decal film. We can fold it over out of the way. Just take your time. It is very, it does take a lot of abuse, but it will rip eventually. And it's normally just as you start to get it to lay down really nice. So you'll soon get used to how much you can push it. Use a cotton bud to get any excess solution up, or help conform an area. Just don't press too hard because it can leave a print in the film. But your finger is a very, very handy tool when decaling. So you can see we've really sped it up now. And you can see just how well that's starting to conform now. Pop a little slot in any sides that need to fold over to give them a helping hand. Lots of different angles on this. So they do need a little bit of help. And again, this is just a strong solution. As you remember on the Studio 27, we had to use the extra strong and then sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait. This stuff is fantastic. I absolutely love using it. It can be quite frustrating sometimes. You can see my old little bit up above me. This isn't the first go I had at doing this. The first couple were actually short, and I tore the third one. The air was blue, but we come back again, and fourth time is the charm. So don't get frustrated or disheartened. Just try again, keep going. Like I say, we are going to piece this. It can be pieced. You can piece up tears or rips. It's a lot more forgiving than you think. And there we go, pretty much happy with that. So let's make sure we get any marks off, any excess solutions. And make sure all our edges are nicely burnished down. And there we go. That looks rather good. Quick inspection, as you can see, that's gone down really well. Conformed fantastically. No issues there at all. Absolutely spot on. Very happy with that. It's a great looking carbon weave as well. And I think using the 24 scale, it's a bit more realistic, not as big as 12th. I think it does look a little bit better. Now we're getting some of the strong solution to give this a final set in place. And once we've applied one of these, we'll put it to one side, let it set. And another important tip on this, make sure you get underneath as well. All these bits that are sticking out, you don't want none of these to be caught later on and rip it. So make sure you're fully set underneath, and we will paint under there later on to hide any unpainted surfaces. So there we go. As you can see now, we do have a little tear in there at the back. So what I've got is a little cut piece of carbon. I've done this many times. Now, as long as it's not a prominent piece, like on the main curve of the hugger, because there's in this little recess, it's not as noticeable because the light doesn't catch it as much. Now, my tip is line up the carbon pattern itself like you do in wallpaper, and don't have straight edges at 90 degrees. Cut them to an angle that makes them less visible. And it's simply a case of put it on. There's no solution on this yet. As you can see, we'll put another angle on the other way to make sure it fits in place. With no solutions on it, we can take it on and off as we please. So literally, as I was setting this full-size decal on, the very last step, a little piece tore off, and I wasn't removing the whole off of one little piece. I know full well I can patch this and it won't be seen. So the key to this is make sure it's not overhanging too high, not sticking out, and we get that pattern lined up correctly. So I need to trim a little bit off the top. The Tamiya decal scissors. Pop it back in place. Once you're happy where it is, hit it with the decal solution and just leave it be and let it do its thing. And trust me, you will barely see where it's been. As long as it's not in a prominent spot. If it had been over that rear actual curved part, I would have redone it because you would see it. Because it's in this little recess, this little dimple, it's nowhere near as visible. And like I say, as long as you line up the pattern, hit it with a decent decal solution, you will barely see where it has been at all. So I'm just moving it along to get that pattern lined up. Again, take your time. Once you're happy with it, there you go. You can barely see it now, to be honest, even with not any setting solutions on there. Make sure we're fully home. Make sure we've got all the excess fluid out from underneath it. Like I say, without any setting solution, it's already kind of vanished. We're going to hit this straight up with the strong, because I don't want to be messing around with this. I just want to put some on, leave it to do its thing, and like I say, it'll barely be noticeable. So some UMP strong solution, quick wipe over the top, like so. Should we get all the edges covered? Then we'll wipe off any excess, put this down, and let it dry. So the top piece now, like I said, we're going to do this in 4 pieces. It's now 5 because we ripped a little piece. So we're going to put 1 piece across the top and then 1 piece either side. So again, make sure your pattern's the right way. Not as important with this pattern, but if you've got a cross pattern, you need to make sure everything's going the same way and what have you. And again, it's a case of get it in place, hit it with the normal decal solutions from Ultimate, trim it, any excess, get it off now. It makes life a little bit easier later on. Just don't go too close. Like I say, it's nothing worse than cutting the excess off, getting it all set in place and realising it's a little bit too short one side. That is an absolute nightmare. So as you see, we just take it off, reposition it. If you have joints and there is a line or a panel line or a seam or a bend or a joint, line it up with that and you really will not see it at all. So again, once you're happy, check its position. We're coming with the normal solution again. Hit it up, we'll let it sit for a little bit. Once it starts to conform, we'll do the finger trick, fold it over. Exactly how we did the larger part earlier on. Patience is key, and this really will build up your patience. It'll certainly test it, that's for sure. As you can see, the solution's starting to work now. This is about 5 minutes later. We just let it sit for a little bit. We're just getting all that bottom part in first. And then we hit the top, and you see it's already starting to want to curve over of its own accord. We'll now give it a helping hand with a finger. And as you can see, there we go. That's all nicely set in place. Now, measuring up for the side piece. That piece is perfect. So it's just an off cut from earlier. We're going to cut it into shape. So a little bit of a curved shape at the top, leading down to the bottom. And again, line up the pattern, hit it with the solutions, and you won't even see where it joins up. Once you're happy with it, pop it in the water, let the water do its thing, pop it on, let the solutions hit it again, let them set it in place, and then give it a helping hand with your brush and a finger. Really quick and simple. Absolutely love this decal foam. I always have. It works very well. Like I say, it can be frustrating, but persevere. Just keep going, keep trying. I have plenty of it in stock. I probably used half a sheet doing this, so you can see most of it all crumpled up behind. So you know, even I don't get it right first time. I think I had about 2.5 hours worth of footage to get this 13 minutes, and 2 hours of it went straight into the trash because it was basically me screwing it up. So again, once you're happy the solutions are starting to take hold, fold it over with your finger, use the brush to get any creases out or if it's not quite straight. But most importantly, make sure if you fold the piece over, it is properly pushed home on the other side. Like I say, nothing worse than getting this all done, then later down the line you're doing something else, you snag it and completely rip it off. It's an absolute nightmare. And there we go. So you need to repeat this through the side, and that is it. That's the rear hugger carbon decal. We've got some metal detail work to pop in later, but we'll do that later on with a cocktail stick like we do with the engine. But that's that. So here we are. We've got our wheels all prepped for paint. Our rear hugger has been fully carboned, as you just saw. And we've got the kit decals on as well, and this thing looks fantastic. Looks really, really good. You really can't see where it's been pieced at all. Only if you really look closely can you see any signs of any piecing. Kit decals have gone on well. Like I said, I was in 2 minds. Should I 2K this? And I think I'm going to leave it as is. We've also done a little part for the back. I think it's the chain guard. Again, carbon in the same film. Again, no problem at all. And we've got the decals on the sides of the swing arm at the back. And these will be left as is. I'm not going to clear these. They are stickers on the real bike. And we've detail painted some of the parts on the frame as well. And got the little pieces in the side that sit inside the engine part. Also painted the back of this carbon heat shield. And underneath the hugger as well. Just in Tamiya LP3 flat black it was. So, as you can see now, we've got our wheels, discs, the rotors, the rotor centers, front disc, rear discs. Like I said, we're going to paint all these up, get them primed first, and then come back and get them detail painted up. But we need to get these wheels painted and 2K'd before we can assemble everything. As you can see, we've got everything on cocktail sticks and clips ready for paint. So a few components to paint. And here we are in the spray booth. So first off, we've got some Tamiya LP1. This is the gloss black lacquer. The wheels have been primed in ultimate grey primer. And we're going to give these 3-4 light coats, well, lightish coats of the black. Quite tricky wheels to paint. You've got loads of different angles to get in and recesses on the front spokes as well. Just take your time. Using lacquer, you can be a little bit less forgiving as such. But we still don't want runs of paint. So take your time. Just make sure you've got everywhere evenly painted. Again, these are painted in the LP1 as well. And then we'll come back later on. And the outside part of, I think it's a hub, is it? Will be painted in titanium silver, which we'll use our whole template. Here we are, the wheels now, after having, I think this is about the third coat now, third or fourth coat. So this is our final coat. Just making sure we've got everything sprayed. Right in all those little recesses in the spokes. Even coverage, nice glossy coat. Once we're happy, these can be left to dry for a couple of days in preparation for 2K next time. Now we've got LP54, which is dark iron. And we're going to use this. I've already test sprayed it on a spoon. Very happy with the colour. It's a very, very nice colour. For the centre of the brake discs themselves. So this is like a dark iron colour in real life. So this is the perfect colour for them in my opinion. So again, these have been primed in ultimate black primer. I'm just going to give these a couple of coats. Making sure again we get all the angles inside all those spokes, all the little recesses. I might have shot a little bit, but it is there. I was actually spinning it around on the stick, had it the wrong way. And again, really nice colour. More and more impressed by these LP paints the more I use them. Very, very nice colour. Now we've got LP19 gunmetal and LP3 flat black. We're going to mix these up and make a carbon colour. I've already test sprayed it on a spoon. We've got our little pot here, which I've saved the excess for future use as well, and I'm very happy with the colour. What we're looking for is a flat black colour with a metallic fleck in there. This is about right. So off the top of my head, we are 3mm of the gunmetal LP19 to 4mm of the flat black. So work out that ratio yourself, but that's the way I did it. I was doing it in millilitres at a time until I got the colour I wanted. So basically it's a flat black metallic colour with the flakes of metal showing through, which to me represents the carbon disc pretty well. You can get carbon colours from places like Zero Paint and what have you, and I have used that before, but I think this gives a very, very good effect as well. So again, a couple of light coats all the way around, making sure we get the backs as well. These will need masking off to spray the very centres as well, because they are two different colours. But for now, we're just getting a couple of light coats. Probably 3 in total. So not a couple, 3. And again, just making sure we get a metallic fleck landing on there. And to me, that's a good colour. We'll have a little bit of a closer look later on. But to me, that's a perfect colour. Happy with that mix. And I've got about another 8mm or so saved for next time as well. Even coverage is the key. Don't get any runs because it will ruin the look of them. Now we've got LP11. We're going to spray our rear disc with this. It's not a carbon disc, so it is a steel disc. So again, a couple of light coats of this, making sure we get the inside and the back as well. And again, the centre of this will need to be sprayed a different colour later on too. 3 coats later, we've got nice coverage. We're through the apex at about 18 psi here as well with the 0.2mm needle. Now these are my pit lane books. These are the books everyone keeps asking me about. I will go through these in a separate video and have a chat about them. But as you can see, there's our front carbon disc showing the colour. And I think my colour isn't too bad at all. You can see the metallic fleck in there, and it's got the dullness of the carbon as well. But as you can see on the real disc, we need to mask off that inner circle and spray it a different colour. And there's our centre framework. I'm not sure what that's called actually. If anyone knows, let me know. So here we go. So this is where we're at now. This is how we sprayed it up. I'm going to try and measure as accurate as I can. I think it comes out to about 20, just under 21 millimeters in total. So halving this will give us our base point to start with. Making sure it lines up. Now, again, just like the carbon film, if you do this way, you're not going to get it bang on straight away. I got my Alpha circle cutter. Again, the links for these are in the description down below. Get them on Amazon. Very, very good tool. Nice and accurate and nice and easy to use. I'm going to use our micrometer. And set it to roughly half what we had before. Like I say, we're not going to get this totally spot on first time round. We'll try our best. So we're starting around the 10.47 mark. We're just going to get a very rough mark to begin with. We'll do a test one. But normally it's either too big, too small, and it needs microscopic adjustment as we go. So we've got a Tamiya 40mm tape. As you can see on my bench, this isn't the first time at this rodeo for me. We've had plenty of attempts. They've all been too small. We've gradually gone up in size till we got to 10.50, as you can see on the display. So we're just going to set it up where we want it, and this is near enough spot on this time round. So just a touch over half the size we had. It's probably taken me about 6 attempts to get it absolutely spot on. And again, it's one of those things, time well spent now pays off in dividends later on, because it looks absolutely spot on when you get it bang on. Again, nice, easy to use cutter. There's loads of different cutters out there. This is one of my favorites. They're cheap, easy to use. There's 2 different sizes, the bigger one as well, which I've got. This is the one I tend to use the most. Cut it out, offer it to one side, get it leveled up, and come around the other and just keep moving it around till you get it in position where you want it. And like I say, I think it's like 7 times the charm. We got absolutely spot on. We do this again for the other one, and we can spray them up. And then don't forget, we need to do the rear disc center as well. As you see, I'm just lifting it up, placing it in place in one side, moving it around. There's a little rim on the disc, which kind of a cheat to show you where it should be a different color. So follow that and you really can't go wrong. Just keep pulling it off, pop it back on until you're happy it's in place. Of course, there's other ways you go around this. You could do it the other way around. You could spray the center first, mask that, and do the outsides. But for me, this is the way I like to do it. Once you're happy, we've got a stick to attach it to using the same masking tape. And there we go. That makes life a lot easier to spray. As you can see, we're all ready for paint. So again, we're going to do our other one. There's our point that we masked to, 10.50. There's both of them done now as well, and our rear disc done exactly the same way. We measured it, halved it, cut our template out. We got this one right first time round, I think, which was a miracle. And they're now ready for paint. As you can see, plenty of masking tape left behind, but hey, just one of those things. So we're going to use the dark iron on the rear disc and spray the center again. Again, we're thinned about 50-50. We're through the apex, the 0.2 I think this is, and we're about 18 psi. I'm just going to give it 2-3 light coats, make sure we get all the angles into all those recesses, and making sure we get good, even coverage all around. After 2-3 coats, as you can see, it's got a nice depth of colour now. Now we've got LP63 titanium silver. We've got our circle template, which we've already taped off, ready for painting. These are those hubs we had before. The outside underneath spraying in titanium silver, where we sprayed them LP1 black. As you can see, pop it into the template, spray through it, and it gives the perfect mask. You pick these up from any stationery store, art shop, Amazon sells them, as you can see. It's made short work of that, and a nice neat job. LP61 metallic grey now. We're going to use these on the centre of our discs. It's a little bit brighter than our reference picture shows, but I'd like to have the clean demarcation between the carbon and the centre, so I always go a little bit brighter, and we're going to dull it down a touch with a wash later on anyway. And again, 2 to 3 light coats, making sure we get all the angles. Just make sure your masking tape is fully pushed, burnished home. You don't want to get any overspray to spend all that time masking it. And after a couple of coats, we've got a nice deep colour there now as well. So there we go, these are all the parts painted up. As you can see, using a circle template, gives a nice clean paint line on these. They've come out really well. Very nice. Again, we'll put a wash on those later on. Brake discs, haven't even looked at these yet, so we're going to unmask them now. Let's have a look, see what we got. Hope we've got a nice clean paint line and nice opposing colours, which we have. Very, very nice. So that's turned out well. Beauty of the lacquers, they dry super fast. You can literally handle them a couple of minutes later. Mask over them very quickly, no issues at all. And I'm very happy with that colour and the mix of carbon I got. Very happy with that. It gives a good representation of the carbon effect. Then you throw it around even better. As you can see, really happy with that. Nice clean masking. We've got a little bit of detail work to do on that, a little bit of a wash to add. But they're going to look the part, so very happy with those. Rear disc, again, this was sprayed in LP11 silver. And we sprayed the centre in the dark iron. And again, very clean masking. And a nice differential tone in colour as well. Very good. Again, we can pop a wash in there later to add a bit of depth. But for now, they're ready for assembly once we're ready with our wheels. Okay, disc carriers as well. They've been painted. Take them off the cocktail sticks. They look great. Again, lovely colour. And these just kind of push on the back for now, just so we can have a look, see what they look like. So we've got some nice different tones there. They're all different tones of LP paint. There's 2 locating points on the back. I'll find them in a minute. There we go. That looks great. Very happy with that. That's a good looking disc. Yep, really happy with that. It's come out really well. And our wheels as well. So these are painted in LP1 gloss black. Once these have dried for a few days, we can hit with the 2K and start assembling the rest of the bike for the next part. Okay, there we are. So that's where we're at today. Happy where we're at. Carbon went down brilliantly. So much nicer to scale motorsport stuff. You can really abuse it. You know, it takes a lot more punishment. Sets a lot easier. Absolutely loves our decal solutions. Goes down no problem at all. And on the 2 minds, now should I 2K it or should I leave it? I kind of like that satin look that the carbon gives, so I think I'm probably going to leave it. Wheels are there ready, they're now ready for 2K. We will do those in the next video with the bodywork. Quite a stressful part, but we'll get those out of the way. They can sit and cure for a little bit. And we need the wheels before we can progress next onto the rear swing arm assembly, rear suspension, chain, so on and so forth. And then we'll be onto the front forks as well. So there'll be the future builds of this. Now, one thing people keep asking about is my pit lane walkthrough books. Rather than taking up 5-10 minutes on these videos, I'll probably do a separate video, not a review, but I'll look through them. They're out of print. They're a bit of a nightmare to find. They fetch absolutely stupid money. But a lot of people have asked, so we'll go and have a look. I've got about 4 or 5 of them, I think. Very, very lucky to buy them when I did. Still paid a couple £100 for them. But they are unbeatable resources. They really, really are. So I'll probably do a little video day or two after this has been released, and you can make your own minds up over the work taken out, or if you can use your own reference online and whatever. But to me, they are invaluable. They were one of the first things I bought when I got into the bike builds, and I'm so glad I did, because they are very, very hard to find now, and they fetch silly, silly money. So there we are. Like I say, next video I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll be doing some 2K-ing. We'll 2K all the bodywork, the wheels, and then they can be left to set. We'll probably work on the rear suspension after that in part like 9. and the chain. Then we can come back in part 10, get all the rear end assembled, fingers crossed. Then we concentrate on the front end. I reckon we're looking at about 14 parts in this, 14, 15 parts in total, but I'm not bothered if it's 15, 20 or 100. I'm enjoying doing this, getting lots of good feedback off of all you guys out there, and that's all that matters. So there we go. Thanks for watching today. As always, check out Internet Scale Model Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com. You can get a lot of the products I've used in my videos, my Pool ISM Facebook page, where all my personal modelling work shared, as well as ISM Facebook itself. Off Air Hangout group for all the Off Air Hangouts, live on the bench group for all the live show news. And of course, if you're not subbed to the channel, sub, click the bell icon, give us a like, and leave a comment down below should you wish. I'll catch you all next time. Take care. Bye bye.